and adopt Resolution H.R. 1275.
The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Resolution 1275, resolution honoring the life of Timothy John Russert, Jr., public servant, political analyst, and author.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from New York, Mr. Higgins, and the gentleman from California, Mr. Isaac, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York.
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks.
Without objection.
I yield myself such time as I may consume. Madam Speaker,
The gentleman is recognized.
Madam Speaker, it's with a heavy heart that I call up for consideration H.Res. 1275, which honors the life and legendary journalist Tim Russert, whose life slipped away suddenly on Friday, June 13, 2008. I'd like to thank the Committee on Oversight Ranking Member Tom Davis and also Committee Chair Henry Waxman. That said, it is with profound regret that I stand before you on the floor of the House today to mourn and commemorate the life of Tim Russert, an icon of America's media for nearly 2 decades. Mr. Russert died on Friday after collapsing at NBC's Washington, D.C. home of Meet the Press at age 58. While Tim Russert was a former Democratic congressional staffer, Washington bureau chief, and senior vice president of NBC News, the world knew him best as a host of the famous Sunday morning news show, Meet the Press. In addition to his professional journalism accomplishments, Mr. Russert was also a best-selling author, penning the New York Times best-selling memoir, Big Russ and Me, and Wisdom of Our Fathers. From his chair at Meet the Press, Mr. Russert demonstrated his dedication to democracy, his passion for politics, his admiration for fairness, honesty, and humanity. Mr. Russert's enthusiasm for journalism and politics earned him the respect and acclaim of so many Americans, including myself and many of my colleagues. Born in Buffalo, New York on May 7, 1950, Tim Russert received his undergraduate degree from John Carroll University, then proceeded to earn a law degree from Cleveland Marshall College of Law. Over the years, he earned 48 honorary doctorate degrees, which serves as further evidence of his prolific impact on the world. While Tim Russert sat in the front seat of world history, chronicling the domestic and international political events that have defined our time, he performed his work with great humility and quality of character. Tim Russert had a gift for making the all-too-complex nature of Washington politics understandable and compelling for Americans across our great country. In recognition of his work as the epitome of journalistic talent and devotion, Tim Russert won an Emmy Award for his coverage of the funeral of President Ronald Reagan, and Radio and Television Correspondent's Joan S. Barron Award, the Annenberg Center's Walter Cronkite Award, and the Edward R. Morrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television Journalism for his interviews of leading national political figures. As a former Washington bureau chief for the Wall Street Journal stated, Tim Russert, quote, was the best political journalist in America, not just the best television journalist in America. Accordingly, it is my hope that we will join the citizens of this country in recognizing and honoring the contributions of a great American, Timothy John Russert, Jr. H.Res. 1275 formally expresses our deepest condolences upon the death of Timothy John Russert, Jr. and extends our sympathies to his wife, Maureen, his son, Luke, for their loss. It is a loss that will certainly impact all of us for quite some time to come. And Madam Speaker, earlier today, I attended at St. Albans the viewing service for Tim Russert with Erie County Clerk Kathy Hochul, a trusted friend, former colleague, and student intern of Tim Russert. The tribute, based on the line that was extending around the campus, is extraordinary and profound to recognize his life. And I'd like to leave you with a story about Tim Russert and how he made it to Washington from his native Buffalo. Tim Russert would always tell that story to highlight the importance of the working class values that were instilled in him by his father, Big Russ. It was the blizzard of 1977 when 3 feet of snow fell on Buffalo with extraordinary winds. Tim Russert was working for Daniel Patrick Moynihan at the time. Moynihan came to Buffalo to survey the damage from the blizzard. He was so impressed with Tim Russert, Senator Moynihan said, "Tim, you have to come to Washington. You have great qualities that will serve you very well there, and you can be with me on my staff." Russert went to Washington and after a short period of time was somewhat discouraged. Senator Moynihan had recognized that he was discouraged and asked him what the problem was. Tim said, "Senator, your staff is made up of ideologues, Ivy League educated people, and I'm from a blue-collar background in Buffalo." Senator Moynihan put his arm around Tim and said, "Tim, what they know you can learn. What you know, the values of hard work, of honesty, of love of community, of love of family, they can never learn." It's with that Tim Russert started his career in Washington in both politics, first and foremost, and then in journalism. Madam Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman from California is
Madam Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman from California, if you'll hold just for a moment.
I reserve.
From New York.
Madam Speaker, I'd ask